Good morning again and welcome back. Now let's check the newspapers. The Daily Guide has a threat to kill judges. I was possessed with Blibli. That's according to the Muntie FM gang. That's how the Daily Guide put the story, captured on pages 2 and 3. They find the house on the front page, 450 megawatts per barge coming to increase car parks capacity to 675, and that's, we're told, is to tackle Doomsaw. That's the finder. The Daily Graphic carries a similar story, the story of the court ruling yesterday. Muntie trio, we're told, and directors convicted, and we're told that the conviction is set for July 26. The Daily Graphic has a story, but also here, Zenato gets boost for parliamentary ambition, and list of deleted NHIS voters in Greater Accra in today's issue. That's of the Daily Graphic. Grab a copy and check if your name is in there. The Daily Statesman says, sack Rawlings from NDC. Mahama boys mount pressure. Okay, it comes with a photograph of the old man here, and not a happy man at all, you can see from the photograph. And then BNFT says, Bank of Ghana beats retreat on inflation target, citing energy sector difficulties. And Power Ministry says, we want cheaper for all. The Daily Express has AU boost intra-continental trade and movement with common passport. It was launched, and you see the Rwandan and Chad presidents, the two of them showing their passport that they have been given. We'll tell you more about what is on the other newspapers later on. But my guest in the studio this morning, Daniel Quartet, Titus Glover, is a member of parliament for Tema East, to my left. Good morning.
Good morning, Brian.
Hope you are doing great.
Oh, by the grace of God.
The week has just started.
By the grace of God, we are still kicking, except that we are expecting a lot from the president and his government, you know. So it's
and the campaign is
going on
getting
very
hotter
well.
And hotter.
My campaign is going on very well. Nana's campaign is so kicking on the ground. This is a retail campaign. It's not those loud campaigns that you do.
All right.
A submarine type, you know what I mean?
Okay.
We are not accounting to the people because people don't pay taxes to us. And you are accounting to the people, you do what we call income and expenditure.
Okay.
But you don't do one side and you do not balance.
Okay, all right. I'm grateful for your time. To my right is a legal practitioner, Kwabena Fio. Kwabena, good morning to you. And hope you're doing great.
I'm doing great.
You are not in any form of campaign, or you're also campaigning for some seats somewhere?
No, I'm not.
Okay, all right. Welcome to the show. Now, let's start with this story captured by almost every newspaper this morning. The ruling of a court yesterday, the Daily Guide, Daily Graphic, and the Ghanaian Times have all carried a story. Now, we're told that the Muntie team, the host, the panelists, and then the directors have been convicted. And the issue is that the court says on July 27, the sentencing will be done. And so waiting hopefully for that. All right, Kwabena, let me start with you. If you were following this issue, were you expecting anything different from the court?
May I say good morning to your viewers? I'll say yes and no. No, because clearly you will notice that the Supreme Court has taken a particular stance in our body politics. That is to ensure that there's sanity on the airwaves, and it is also to ensure that the administration of justice is not brought into disrepute. If you notice that we have three main organs of government, the executive now is embroiled in politics. You know that there's extreme partisanship with our executive,
right? Because
of the nature of the adversarial politics we do. Then the legislature politics is also there. So when the political parties are involved in this type of politics, the independent institution that is left to ensure that there's sanity and law and order in our country will obviously not necessarily allow things to go the people want to go. But on the other hand, they have convicted them. But I don't know the sentence they are going to give to them. I don't know if they are going to just reprimand them, give them custodial sentence, or fine them. So on that particular score, I cannot say what will happen then we'll wait until 27th or so.
And then we know, but at least you think that the conviction is enough to deter others who perhaps are thinking of acting same?
Oh, it has already started working. I think last week one of such stations that I heard normally would be involved in this name callings and insults and all those. I heard the host asking one person to retract and say, once you don't have evidence, you can't proceed. So you can see the effect happening already. You see, people are learning their lessons, and I think what the Supreme Court sought to do was also to send a particular signal across, which is a novelty, and I've said this one time and again, that it's a novelty. Normally, directors of a company are not criminally liable for invitees to the studio of their businesses
or inactions.
Yes, normally criminal liability will lie with the individual, except for certain circumstances where, for instance, the company is being used for fraudulent purposes and all that. You understand me? So once the Supreme Court has now taken the decision that, look, if you bring people into your studio and they are running down everybody and they extend it to the Supreme Court, you will be criminally liable. That's a novelty. It is not part of our laws.
I see. I come back to you, since you are a legal mind. There are a lot of other issues we need to talk about, particularly if we should wait for it to get it. But Mr. Titus Grover, should we wait for this to get to the Supreme Court? We have people in charge, the NCA, the media houses themselves, the independent broadcasters, and even the national broadcaster. How do we prevent this from even getting to the court? Is it possible?
Yes, it is possible. First of all, good morning to all your viewers. My constituents are watching you. I bring you warm greetings from the Paramount Chief of Tema Traditional Area and its Traditional Council, members of the Muslim community, their imams, the churches and their ministers in charge, everybody, including my party members and everybody. I am happy because, you see, our judges are trained in such that when you even insult them, they don't have the opportunity to defend them
back.
Because the NDC disagree. Anybody who disagrees with them, you can be a judge, you can be a teacher, you can be a nurse, you can be a reverend minister. When they disagree with them, then you see these hawks, including Mr. Rawlings himself. We'll come to that subject for discussion. They have to come and hurl insults on you. The Supreme Court, this is a lawyer. I'm told when they speak is law. When they speak, it's law. And for us to turn the whole media landscape into a different look altogether, Munti FM, they keep insulting me. I don't listen to it. But people call me, tune. I say, I will not listen. Because when I listen, sometimes my adrenaline is going to rise up. So I'm not going to be bothered to listen to that station. The responsibility is on the board of directors, the managers of the station. A typical example is TV3. I am sure any staff of TV3 who misconduct him or herself, we have a process that you take the person through. It is a way of trying to sanitize your airwaves because you have clients, you have competitors who watch TV3 and want to make sure that everything that you do is very civil. All right? So for consistently, I don't want to mention any name. The last time I mentioned it, he's a very good friend. He's in government. I called him personally because he's a very senior friend. I said, my brother, the way this station has been set up and consistently have insulting and vilifying Nana Akufo-Addo and any other person, including myself, it is not in the interest of all of us. As for critique, we can criticize, but you will not insult. I will never insult President Baba. Not because if it's in my family, I love it. In the same way, if Akufo-Addo is a member of any of them, their family, they will love it. But why should we descend our politics into the gutter for everybody to come out and speak any venom? So therefore, constitutionally, we are told that state institutions cannot have the power and control over the editorial policy of these new media houses. But that is why they have editors. That is why they have senior executive members of their company who will be able to say, hey, the angle at which you are going, it is not in the interest of the company. It is not the policy of the company, and in the general interest of our country. Therefore, hold on. If the directors have called that Mugabe boy to order, I'm not sure they will come in. There's a saying, you go and touch the elephant. Now you see what has happened? They think they can insult everybody. They descend we members of parliament, they don't respect us, they insult us, they insult the speaker, everybody. The Chief Justice and her team, they are quiet, they don't talk. Now they're enforcing what the law says. They have been convicted. There have been several examples. My own senior brother, Ken Pranchi, was sent to prison. And a too big guy
yes, still not
yes, he was also sent to, and that really sanitized the airways. I thought we'll have learned a lesson from some of these things. So it's an unfortunate situation. And he said that is what you know Inga.
We're trying hard to understand
what is. You understand? Either bleep,
yeah,
epilepsy,
right.
And there is another one. I've forgotten about it.
So you can't think properly in that state.
I don't think it is now that they want to demonstrate remorselessness in what they have done. I don't have a problem if genuinely from their hearts they are showing this remorse. The Supreme Court can't. He's giving us various types of sentences that he can, whether a fine, whether a custodial sentence, or go to prison, whatever. I'm a young man, and if your son, poo on your laps, you don't cut it. You just wash it. But it's a lesson to all of us that all media houses, we should be very careful, and those of us who are even invited. It is not only the media houses.
Exactly. I was going to come there because politicians those are the center of this.
So you need to be civil. This tank can bring peace and can also cause mayhem. So even when you journalists are pushing us to speak things that we are not supposed to speak, at least you must use your wisdom and know how to speak. If you speak in such a way that it is going to unify all of us. NDC, MPP, we are the two protagonists in these elections. It does not mean that we should take clubs and guns and start killing ourselves. At the end of the day, it is a country that is very important to all of us. I came from Tema to here. I passed through the motorway. Maybe lawyer stays also in Tema. He decided to go to the beach road. But we're all here. It is the methodology that will govern the country that are different. But the supreme interest of corporate Ghana is more important to all of us.
So for you, the media and the politician here are key in the fight to sanitize.
Absolutely so, because we are like twins. The media and politicians, we need each other, because you want to sell your show, your program. You need to invite certain personalities to come and enrich the discussion that is going on, and the topics that you select. And you see, in this country, people think that they know everything. If I don't have idea about something, I don't need to go and force myself. If I'm deficient, I need to admit it, that over here I'm deficient, therefore I cannot speak extensively on this very subject. Clearly, no insults. If you want to critique, you criticize it in such a way that anybody who sit back, you are not insulting. You can be communicating without insulting. You can be communicating without attacking anybody. But me, Muntie FM, that station, I don't know.
We'll get it. But Kwame, let me come to you. The issue of people seeking redress when they are maligned on TV, on radio, in the newspapers. Perhaps we have gotten to where we are because this attitude of Fama Nyame has caused us to get us to where we are. If people were maligned in the media and they were taken on, I am insulted, and I decide to go to court to engage in a civil suit, perhaps we can in a way deal with this.
Oh, absolutely. That remedy is available. And I think there's a couple of cases that we know of the people who have been maligned have gone to court to vindicate their rights. So that option exists. You understand me? That option is available to those who think they have been maligned in a particular way to go back to court to seek redress.
And do people use the option? I've seen a lot of them. So it's okay, or let's leave it. You go to court and then you cause more discomfort for the person.
I think people use it a lot. Just that it's only the political ones that you see that gets the media coverage. But beyond that, people actually test the law in the courts. We practice on a daily basis and we see those cases in the courts. Except that it takes a longer period, as we all know,
for those cases to be dealt with.
Yes, it takes, averagely, if you sue somebody for defamation, it may take you a minimum of a year to 2 years. So how many people want to hire lawyers to go through this ordeal? So most often, people will just allow it to go, then they suffer that particular fate. So that's the difficulty. But you see, I think that we ought to do a comprehensive analysis of the media scene so that we come to a conclusion that never again should we get to this point. I think if you look at the political divide, we have stations across the aisle that are involved in these things. You know what I mean? There are occasions where if you hear people calling the president, I'm not saying you can't critique the president, as he said. You can critique the president, but to call the president corrupt, for instance, I had said yesterday on another station that, you see, Parliament has power to summon people to appear before the privileged committee. And we know that a daily graphic employee has been summoned. The Supreme Court, we know, has summoned people before the Supreme Court and citing them for contempt. The executive palpably doesn't have that power. So you know, for instance, if somebody is sitting on radio or on TV calling the president corrupt person whilst executing his job, the question is, if you don't have proof to refer to the president as corrupt, why should you be able to do that? So, for instance, in the execution of their function as Supreme Court judges, do you think that if you call them or keep referring to them as corrupt, they won't cite you for contempt? They'll cite you. So you see that the system the executive has become more or less vulnerable. And I'm speaking this as a systemic failure, something that I'm seeing as a systemic failure. Even though we have taken the criminal libel from this, which is good, you see that most people are complaining because it has made the executive vulnerable. A lot of decent people are running away from politics because of this tag. Once you are in politics and you accept the position of responsibility, all people do is to sit on radio and call you corrupt thieves. You understand me? They call you thieves, corrupt, and all manner of names and all those. You have children who are listening to you. My kids may be watching me this morning. So if somebody is referring to me as corrupt, thief, and all those, when there's no proof for it, and you see, and all the person says is go to court and sue me. If a minister of state is on a daily basis suing every single person who calls him corrupt, he cannot work. So you understand me? So I think that as a people, we need to come together and to sort of discuss these matters comprehensively and dispassionately, so that we know going forward we need to civilize our politics. Elsewhere, the issues take the center stage. People discuss issues based on what you can do and not the insults. If you resort to the use of insults and attacks and all those things, it only tells me that you don't have the policy alternative, because you ought to sell your programs to the people so that they buy into the program. So when they queue on a particular day of election, they have one mind made up that this is what I'm convinced and this is what I'm going to buy into.
Okay.
In terms of individual actions, on the same Munti FM, you recall that Asamajan was maligned, and he has taken Munti FM to court to clear his name with the kind of things they said about him, that he sponsored Akufo-Addo, blah blah, a whole lot of things, and that was a very big problem on that gentleman, a captain of the national team, who has nothing to do with politics. So therefore, we have every right to go to court to seek remedies, to really clear our names. And I think that the court is there for all of us. That is the final arbiter whenever there's a dispute between two people. So we need to make sure that anything that we do that will criminalize the court, that will deface the court, that will show gross disrespect to the court, we need to stop it.
Of course, as in most cases, but I am talking about a politician on a political platform making those comments, and then the person whom the comments were made against decide to go to court. That's a classic example I'm talking about here. Not as a Mwajan who has never been on any political platform.
I cannot give you off head.
Yes,
but there have been a lot of politicians who have been to court.
Okay.
Recently, was it Hackman, Honorable Hakbo Usajman? Yes, I think he's in court
over an issue.
One of these tabloids has also attacked him on something. He's in court.
And recently, you recall that Daily Guide. I think the General Secretary of NDC, Mr. Asidun, sued the Daily Guide in this respect. So normally, these actions are dotted around. People do go to court and all those. But you see, the media people, once they follow the case first, second time to court,
and then they drop it. Because, like you said, sometimes it ends after 1 year. And so, all right, we're grateful. Let's drop that. We'll continue discussing it. But let's tie in with this because, for instance, Kwabena, you raised an issue of where people sit on radio and refer to the opponents, electoral opponents, as corrupt, as thieves and all that. So there's a group, the statement is reporting of a group, a pro-Mahama group, asking that the NDC should sack its founder, Mr. Rawlings. Now, all that they are saying is that Mr. Rawlings is fond of always referring to President Mahama as corrupt and while endorsing Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Now, according to them, Mr. Rawlings had been doing that in order to scuttle the second term campaign of the president, John Dramani Mahama. And so the group says we want the founder sacked because he's always referring to our president as corrupt. And this is one of the issues you're talking about.
I think honestly, the difficulty that NDC is faced with is the situation where Mr. Rawlings is a fan of the party, and based on his status in the party, it's difficult to deal with him the way the laws of the NDC allows. You know that if it was an ordinary member of the NDC who was making this statement, obviously I'm sure he would have faced a disciplinary sanction within the party. But we know the difficulty that can attend these processes when you are dealing with the founder. It's like asking Nana Addo to go before a disciplinary committee within the MPP. It's a difficult one. I think most of these people are incensed.
Are you suggesting that some people are above the law?
I'm not saying so, but you see, there's what we call reality. You see, you may decide to take the bull by the horns and go sort of implement the rule of law within your party. But what will be the outcome? You are going to an election, you are confronted with a situation where, and you know that this is not the first time the ex-president is doing it. He did it to Professor Mills,
right,
and all those. So it has been his stock in trade. I think he's entitled to his opinion, and nobody can take it away from him. But just that these people are also entitled to their opinion. They are saying that you cannot be within the party and be peasing in. You cannot claim to be a fan of the party, and the least opportunity you get, you attack the candidate of your party and be endorsing the candidate of the other political party. They are incensed by this conduct, so they have the right to say what they are saying. But as to whether or not the party will act, I think it's beyond something I can discuss, because the party has its own rules and regulations. If they elect to go against Jerry Rawlings and to put him before a disciplinary committee, I don't know what might happen. I don't know if they may elect to do that. But I think that for now, the difficulty has been, you listen to people who even say that the daughter is contesting election in our party and this is what is happening. And it's negatively even, I'm sure, affecting the daughter. Because if you are running in a political party and your father is constantly bashing the party and all those, look at the psychological effect. Your followers will be confused and all that. But what I would say is that, to tie into my earlier submission, if you continue to refer to people as corrupt and all those things, and they begin to hurl the same insult at you, what will be the situation? I'm sure in the past, when my brother, Honorable
Titus
Glover, he likes the combination. I have always been listening.
Titus Glover. So you see, when they were calling him very corrupt person in the past, and then this was defending him, I think they were doing so conscientiously believing
that he is not a corrupt person. Not because somebody led evidence or he provided anybody with evidence that he's not corrupt or otherwise. But today he's doing the same thing to President Mama. I think that shall I say, it's unfortunate. There may be things, the acts that you may not be happy with. I think that as the founder of the party, who has the ears of the president, the least he could do is to engage him privately and talk to him. You understand me? I'm sure the president is a listening person. If he finds through evidence provided by Jerry Rawlings that this person is involved in a corrupt act, I'm sure the president will act. But to come openly and be discussing, calling yourself a founder. Recently, he was at the party head office. You saw when they were
celebrating
this
20 years.
Yes, with all these difficulties, with all these name callings and all those, the party still respects him, has deep respect for him, and they continue to engage him, invite him to such programs and all those. So, if you continue to put yourself in a position that will make it difficult for the party to continue to engage you, that will be something he has to deal with.
Right, that's Kwabena Phil's view. Titus, for the NDC, it's Rawlings an albatross on their neck?
Right. Already the NDC have tried very hard to make Papa J redundant. I recall in 2012, prior to the election, a Sweden critic described ex-President Rawlings as a tame dog. You have these small boys who are used to go and attack the former president. As we speak now, you see the headline they've given? The big guys have all sat back and pushed them and go and attack former president. You see the guns theory. The guns theory. If the gun is on the opponent, when he was criticizing our government, hitting us hard, they were clapping and giving Mr. President thumbs up. Today, with the guns theory that has turned on you, and he is assessing. Excuse me, Mr. President, he's not a fool. Excuse my language. He's not.
By making allegations?
Because one, according to the pistols of Martin Yamidu, then Vice President Mahama was subjected to investigation. He mentioned names, the composition of those people who were investigating him, including Mr. Abua.
What is wrong with investigating a person?
Please, let me make my point.
Okay, make your point. But
about the purchase of umbrella play.
What is wrong with investigating a person?
Yes, because the former president suspected there was some corruption over there.
So it was a suspicion.
So why didn't you continue? Number two, look at the Brazil gate. Who saw what happened at the commission where people were crying crocodile tears? Look at the Ford Espera. When you have come up with a code of ethics, and they said, well, we should not describe that as a corruption, then what is it?
Well, why do you say it is corruption? Yeah, because it's an issue. No, it's an issue we are looking at here. For instance,
you understand?
People referring to others as corrupt when they don't have the evidence.
This is an evidence. How can a land size of a football park, fencing, should cost $650,000?
What is the evidence?
What are you talking about?
What is the evidence of corruption?
Didn't you hear the ambassador speaking?
Yes, I heard.
Didn't you hear the journalist, your colleague,
yes,
who spoke on the matter?
But what is the evidence?
So what is your problem?
My problem is that it costs $650,000. But what is the evidence that it is corruption?
Right. I am giving you a chronicle of things that is happening which is disturbing the old man. This is man who used his blood to form this party. He used his life to make NDC what it is today. And today you said that because it's my party, if your son is going wayward, because it's my son, so I should not talk about it. Are you helping your son or you are destroying him?
Won't it be good if Mr. Rawlings comes out to say that this is what I find as evidence?
And who says that Mr. Rawlings is not talking to them? Who says that he has not been talking?
So if indeed you want to correct your son, then you have to go.
You see, that is why I thank God the training my mother Nanyoko gave me. She doesn't hide. She doesn't hide. You speak loud. You speak loud in the next house, so that even you feel shy the next time when you come do anything wrong. She will whip you and make sure she will scream for you to hear that their next door neighbor at the next house, so that when you go and misbehave again and you are here, you are being teased publicly, you not go and misbehave again. So what has Rawlings done? He is saying that this is not the principles under the probity and accountability of social justice. This has been the philosophy of his party that he's formed. And today people are doing things the way they like. Look at the Jida Gate. Have you read the Jida report before? It has the size of this room. The Jida report.
Is that case not in court?
Please, it's in court. But
So,
it has happened.
Yes, it has happened. And it's
Okay?
in court.
But why should people use Jida as a vehicle to steal from the state?
That is why it is in court.
So why should that happen?
It has happened. And
A
so it
project
is in
under
court.
Akufo-Addo, who really conceptualized the idea of a Northern Development Fund, that God willing, if I'm given the mandate for the good people of this country, this is what I want to do to bridge the gap. You came and plagiarize it. Fair enough. After plagiarizing it, then you use it as a vehicle to steal from the people of the North. This is exactly what is happening. And you said, Mr. Rawlings, you don't talk about it?
I am not saying that.
Examples
Of
of
course.
corruption.
Are these
that has
cases not in court?
DVLA, the bus branding. Why? What has the people of Ghana done? So all this corruption is going on. And those Mr. President's boys, so to speak, by the caption of the paper, didn't they see all these things? So if the old man comes up and he's talking and he's saying that Akufo-Addo is not corrupt, and indeed he's not corrupt, he shouldn't talk about it. Nanado, I have been with from 1991, 1992. I can put my head under the chalkboard that the man is not corrupt.
Would you say it if he was?
If he was, why not?
Publicly
I would say, why not? Why can't I say it?
Are you honest?
Why can't I say it?
That you
But the
say
man
it.
is not corrupt.
The man you are,
Akufo-Addo
you
is
are the
never
man you are
corrupt.
clamoring for to be.
I know,
to
because
be
I've been
president.
with him from my youthful
done
days.
any corrupt practice, you're saying that you would
But
have said it.
Why can't I say it?
Oh, okay.
But Nanado has not done any corruption.
Okay.
Has he? Have you heard him? Other than my Kwabanafio and his people are doing, fighting hard just to tag him with some corruption. It doesn't hold. Today, what Ghanaians are looking for is bread and butter issues. All the descriptions to describe Nanado are all flawed. It doesn't hold. So the ground theory that if when Mr. Rawlings was pointing the gun, attacking Kufuor, attacking MPP, you were singing hallelujah. Go on, Papa J, we support you. You are a brave man. Continue. Now the gun theory is on you. And it's assessing you on that same wavelength. You don't need to cry. So you want to sack him?
Titus, I'm grateful. Kwabena, so the suggestion here is that you see, the whole thing is this. Titus is suggesting that perhaps Mr. Rawlings has seen certain things, and he mentions the issue of Jida, DVLA, the bus branding. Now, so the man is indeed disturbed because frustrated, according to Titus, that he's seeing this, and so perhaps that is why he's talking. And then those youth groups don't think that he's doing the right thing.
You see, I think that in the first place, I think that there's no rule of law that says that people cannot be corrupt. Hear me right. You are dealing with human beings. When they elect to be corrupt, you put in place measures to get them punished. So the president is working with people. He has appointees. He's working with people who've done all manner of appointments, and they are working with him. If they end up being corrupt, the president cannot slaughter them. He must apply the rule of law, and he has demonstrated this. Many people have been put before court under his regime, and you will bear me out that in the past we never saw one person, in the face of all those allegations of corruption, we never saw one person being put to trial.
What about his critics who say, for instance, that Mr. Fiyankra appeared at the commission and we saw what happened there, and yet he's now at the presidency? Nothing has happened. What about critics who mention one of such cases and say that the president isn't acting on indeed what he talks about, fighting corruption?
The president removed, like the example you give, the president indeed removed him. And you and I may not know what the president has done subsequently or is going to do subsequently. Even though people have said that there's like since the time of Brazil and now, the time span is quite long. But he removed him immediately. So this is a person who...
And was that enough? If we want to deter others from engaging in same.
People...
That is, if he did any wrong.
Observers, you see, that's the thing. The criminal liability. It comes back to criminal liability. Was the person criminally liable for what he did? The exercise of judgment. You see, most of those things that happened at Brazil had to do with a person exercising a particular type of judgment. Are you punished for exercising a particular judgment? If you cause financial loss, are you punished? You know, there are standards. I'm not saying that what he did or what happened in Brazil was causing. But obviously, the president was not happy with most of the things that went on because there were a lot of mishaps, and the president immediately removed him as a minister of state. That means that the president had acted. And there are many other issues that the president has intervened in. You understand me? Abu Gapele, other people are before the court standing trial. This has never happened in our Fourth Republic, where ministers of state or appointees of government are standing trial even within their regime.
The NPP had always said that Malam Issa was taken to court for whatever happened.
But you and I know that Malam Issa was more or less alone from the PNC to the NPP. He was not a thoroughbred NPP person. He was not a core NPP person.
You're suggesting that's why they took him to court?
But I'm saying that you and I know that beyond Malam Issa, various allegations of corruption were made against specific individuals within the party within 2001 to 2008. Were they ever put before a court of law? You remember President Kufuor set up a system within the presidency that was to prompt him about corrupt activity.
The Office of the Accountability.
Office of Accountability. Did you ever read any report from that office telling you about any investigation conducted into allegations of corruption that had been led by the media, not political parties, by the media? Did you ever read any report? You understand me? So you see, I think that the question of corruption, I have always said that there are certain things that are systemic that we as a people ought to address comprehensively beyond the partisan discussion that we have. You understand me? We need to do a thorough understanding. Look at our political system comprehensively. I am told, for instance, that every morning you go to the house of a minister of state and people have queued. He, honorable, every morning people queue to his house to demand school fees, all manner of things. Where is he going to get the money from? You understand me?
So we are part of the problem.
We are part. You see, there's a poet, Pogo. He said that we have met the enemy and he is us. We have met the enemy and he is us. We put in place a system that forces appointees to look for resources elsewhere to meet our needs. If a person is a honorable member of parliament, he's giving 8,000 Ghana cedis, and every morning 20, 30 of you queue there every single morning to have money. Where is he going to get it from? A minister of state wakes up around 4 a.m. and by 5 he has to attend to over 50 people who are queued in his house. Where is he going to get those resources from? And we turn around blaming everybody. You understand me? We have met the enemy and it's us. I think that until we take a comprehensive look about the political system we are running and the nature of demands we place on public appointees, we will continue to be complaining. Those monies we claim that are coming to politicians through patronage and all those things, aren't people in the media getting some? Aren't people in civil society getting some? Aren't people in the political parties getting some? Even their friends across the political aisle, if we end up getting some amount of this thing from... These are known.
I see.
They get it from friends. So you see, until we comprehensively discuss those matters, we cannot be... These are tokenism. The NPP is waiting on the touchline, seeking to wrestle power from His Excellency the President. Have they showed us any policy document as to how they are going to fight corruption? You can be saying this is for the sake of power, but when you get power, how are you going to handle it? You need to demonstrate to Ghanaians that I want to end your power, and when I end the power, this is how I'm going to tackle corruption. It's not about saying I'm incorruptible. You are going to work with over 5,000 appointees. It's not about you, just about you. The president has demonstrated that he is somebody who will fight the corruption when it's brought to his attention. But you are dealing with human beings, 5,000 plus appointees. How are you going to police every single one of them?
To get them punished if it comes to your attention.
Yes, so it comes to your attention, you have to get them punished. And the president has done so. I think that he's done better in terms of the fighting of corruption than the record of my brother, the MPP.
Okay, a quick one then.
Let me just reply him to what he said, that we've not given any clear-cut way of trying to fight corruption. I think the first thing to do to tackle this matter is about the individual himself. About the leader who's leading you, how he has really carried himself, and the fact that you cannot have any outer of any dent of corruption.
Is that enough?
On him. That's the first mark. That is responsible leader. That is a clear example that I can give you. Number two, maybe Kwafio have not heard what Akufo has been saying. That now, because the Attorney General by the Constitution has been empowered to be in charge of prosecution and all that, whenever he's given the opportunity by the people of this country, he's going to make sure he detach that. To have a different prosecutor,
so have an independent
prosecutor to be dealing with some of these things. And again, the Anas theory is also very good. He made mention about it. That you make sure the Anas example will be used to enable us to unearth some of these corrupt people in our system. That's the strengthening of state institutions. The Yokos and the Shiraj and all these people. We are in parliament. You come and you see the kind of resources they give, the budget they give them. It's not enough. So they don't have the muscle to be doing all that they're supposed to do. He has given us the assurance. You have not tried it. So give us assurance.
Okay.
Give us the opportunity and let's see what he's going to do. And again, you mentioned about Elvis. If you are saying that it's poor judgment that has caused the state to lose millions of dollars, and for that matter, you don't have the courage to take him to court. Do you promote him to give me, this is my beloved son? To him, I'm well pleased.
Oh, is that what the president said?
So come and sit on my left or my right hand side.
Is that what the president?
Exactly, that's what he has done. That's what he has done.
Titles. I know you are assuming that's.
When you read the Auditor General's report and you look at monies that have gone down the drain, if we have been a bit careful, patient, and cautious, wouldn't you have gone with a cup in hand, begging with the Bretton Woods institutions to come and give me money to run the country? Yesterday, one of the papers is saying that the economy is going to suffer because the IMF, one of the funds, is not available. I don't know whether you saw that yesterday. Yes. What is $140 million? When you go to the port, you can raise that money a day. And we have loopholes in our system where people are using to making money. Jida, Suba, Wyoming Gate, DVLA, bus branding. Why?
I'm grateful. Right. Now let's move on to our third issue. We're talking about energy, and the Finder has on the front page 450 megawatt power batch coming to increase car power's capacity to over 600. And then the BFT says we want cheaper for all. That's according to the Power Ministry. The story from the Finder is saying that the other batch is expected in, and the ECG and car power have reached advanced stages of negotiations to increase car power's generation capacity to over 600. Now, we're told that negotiations are almost complete, and therefore a 450 megawatt power batch is being constructed in Turkey and expected to arrive in Ghana in November. Now, officials of car power told Ghana, the Finder, that when delivered, the government of Ghana is given the first choice to keep that's the Sultan. That's a 225 power ship currently stationed at Tema Harbour. Now, if ECG takes the decision to keep the old one already sitting there, in addition to the 450, it will increase car power's installed capacity to over 600. That's the news there. Now, the BNFT is saying that the Power Ministry is suggesting that they want to quickly ensure that the cost of power is made affordable to all. It will produce power at the barest minimum. That's according to Mr. Jinapo, Deputy Minister. He said the introduction of the realignment of its billing system will serve as a relief for consumers who had complained severally about the high cost of tariffs, even as power supply is erratic. So these are the two issues here. The Power Ministry suggesting that power should be made cheaper for all, and realignment is the trick. and then 450 megawatt power badge expected to increase car power's capacity and therefore ensure we have enough generation. Tassos, let me start with you. This energy challenge that we have, some have suggested a thorough look at fixing the problem once and for all. We're told that we're on course. The generation capacity is improved, but some are suggesting that perhaps what is missing is indeed the resources to power these plants, and really not an issue of generation capacity.
Thank you very much, Bright. This government has plunged this country into darkness. This is the 5th year.
Oh, but we have light.
Yes, we have light.
We have light now.
But industries are still complaining. The doomsday is not over. We have 24 hours, sometimes 12 hours, sometimes on and off. I had my my stabilizer destroyed in the early days of the doomsday. I bought it at Modisco in Tema. It got destroyed. My fridge, like that. You see, the problem of the energy crisis, it is both technical and financial. The budget that is coming, the purchase of the light crude or the fuel that it will use is very important. We were told that TICO 3 or whatever was undergoing some maintenance. That was in 2014 or 2015 and thereabout. What has happened? The purchase of these things are very important. So we're able to run these machines. Maintenance, available funds for maintenance purposes. How are they running? What has been their program? So that these machines that are running 24/7 can be properly maintained. And you can only do that if you have budget line, you have monies available to them. Do you understand? So clearly, all we want is to get the energy crisis solved for us so that we can have the opportunity to produce. For me, that is more important. Because you can imagine the number of people who have lost their jobs. I have a lot in my constituency. The affordability, one of the people is talking about, they want cheap. The affordability
the BNF
of these things. And you see, the taxes alone on the energy that we pay is causing the problem too. You have a 17.5% VAT inbuilt. In December, when they brought this special energy levy and a certificate of urgency, I had the opportunity to catch the eye of the speaker. And I drew my speaker's attention that, Mr. Speaker, it is something further burden that you are bringing on the good people of Tema East, in particular, and the entire nation, because we can't afford it. We cannot afford it. So these legacy debts that they have incurred, i.e. the VRA and other people, I keep asking, how much has been collected? You and I, that we have paid. We need to be told. Because they are supposed, VRA is owing about $1.5 billion or something to its creditors and all that. How much has been collected? Last week, one of the publications where the government is trying to support VRA with some funds to pay off some. It's beautiful. But the question is, how much have you collected? Accountability. Because we're asked to pay. Again,
you members of parliament don't have that information.
If they've paid, they would know. In the mid-year budget review, I'm sure the finance minister will come. He should be able to tell us. State institutions, government institutions are also not paying. They'll be asked to put under prepaid meters. I'm told some have done, others have not done. The presidency, is he paying? The officers, are they also paying? Then you pass this on to us, that we should come and pay. If the president alone, his residence is not paying, it is our duty to take off the president. Because constitutionally, that is our responsibility. I don't have any problem in his home. But all the officers of government, including the seat of government, are they also paying their utility bills? If you don't pay ECG, you don't pay Ghana Water Company, how can they work? And you pass this on to us that we should go and pay. That is what is suffocating us. So, bringing power badge, I'm not enthused about it. Because it's only in the NDC government that when they collapsed the Mall refinery, those days, and they said a ship of crude oil is coming, then there was Spanago and Plejo, that they were dancing Plejo all over the place, that they have brought crude oil, oh, we should come and see. You know Plejo? Yes. That is my festival in Tehran. They are dancing Plejo, dancing. Jama, that they brought crude oil. Look, in our time, the refinery was run quietly. We didn't even hear when the crude oil is coming or what. Okay. So if you are bringing a power badge, we are happy. Bring the power badge. But what will make the power badge operational with the support of what it takes to give us the energy? We are all for it. Okay. You will be surprised that hold on. The power badge is in my constituency in the port.
Yes.
When you come to the Canoe Beach, the whole place is darkness.
Oh, I see.
I'm telling you, the whole Canoe Beach is total darkness. We don't have light. But I will take it up.
I don't have that information. You have to. All right. You know, when the first power badge came, there were concerns by some quarters that, in fact, we don't need another power badge, because then our problem simply had to do with something else, because we have had enough generation machines sitting here. What we need is really managing them to get the power. But we're told the second one is coming. For instance, the African Center for Energy Policy made mention of the fact that don't bring in another batch, because what we have is enough generation capacity. What we need to do is to power them to get the power. So this one coming, will it make any change? What do you think about it?
I think I disagree with the center you mentioned.
Yes, the African Center for Energy Policy.
Yes, policy, decision making and policy matters rests with government. And in the past, we thought we have enough installed capacity till we go to a point where we could not support our economy. Our economy is growing. So once the economy is growing, there will be the need to increase the installed capacity. That's why I think that we should separate the question of our installed capacity and where we should get to, and the management of the current fuel needs for our machinery, that is on the plants and all those that we have brought in. So there ought to be a separation of these two issues. We ought to discuss them differently. We need to increase our installed capacity, and that would then serve as a catalyst to sort of send good signal to the investment community outside to come in, because when they are coming and they are going to invest in this country, they are looking at your capacity to provide them with energy. And so if you have installed capacity and we are working at how to fuel this machinery and to get us light, I think that would be a different discussion. I don't know if you have sensed the realignment in the president talked about, whether you have seen an improvement in your electricity bill.
Well, I'm here to see.
Is it significant?
I'm here to see.
I
haven't checked myself.
Honestly, and cross my heart, I have seen a significant improvement. I was buying 80 cedis, 70 cedis for 2 weeks, or 10 days to 2 weeks. Now, going to 3 weeks now, my light is still
with the same amount of money.
With the same amount of money. So I've seen a significant improvement, and I think that the president has made good his promise, and I think that if we work at it will help all of us. Nobody likes, you see, the idea is that nobody likes to sleep in darkness. Anytime my light is off, I'm angry. But you see, the thing is that is the system working at it to get it resolved? Yes. We are told the reason why we started experiencing this.
The second coming of the dooms.
I would say, fine, some level of load shedding happening, because we have been told that there are difficulties in Nigeria. We were also relying so much on our light crude oil, which got the stocks depleted. And we also know that Akosombo is not getting the needed water, so most of the turbines in there are not working. These are things that the president is working on. You see, there's one thing that people don't know. The reality is that you think 4 months into an election, the president will be happy that lights should be going off. These are things that people should be questioning themselves. You see, people will say these things when they come. When President Kufuor, for instance, was in opposition, he said all manner of things. When he came to government, we all know that he backtracked and said something, which for me I think was sincere and honest. He said that he didn't know the problem was such huge. The NPP, my brother here, they are in opposition now. They are saying they want power, so they will say things that seems to stoke the fire. The government is not doing anything about the energy, all those things. When they come, they will begin to tell us. I was buying fuel at 53 pesos. 53 pesos when NPP came to power. Today, when they were leaving, what was the price of fuel? They had to give reasons why they ought to increase. So you see, there's a distinction between saying things, speech acts, and reality. The president has a best eye view of the economy. He's taking money from here, using it to ensure that we get the necessary comfort that we all deserve. So let's give him some applause when he does work.
Okay.
You mentioned the fuel matter.
Wait.
And when it was being sold at $147 a barrel
for 1 month.
How much was being sold?
Well, that's for 1 month. That was just for 1 month.
We can do how much was it sold?
We can do
today.
This,
how much is the barrel?
We can do this research and come back
because
here.
of the inefficiency, your ineptitude.
As at the time it hit
because of the
$147, you had bought stocks already.
But
so
please,
you're not operating by that.
Because of your ineptitude, you've not been able to hold the city. You have passed this inefficiency on the people of the
okay. I am wrapping.
Absolutely. How much is the barrel?
Daniel, Ni Patek Global is a member of Parliament for
how much are you selling it?
Ni, thanks so much for
very grateful
sharing your 1 hour with us here in our studios. And then Kwabena Fio is a legal practitioner. Thanks so much. And for your time too.
If you are
and of course, those of you who stayed out there to be part of it, we're grateful you watched us.